I'd like to see what happens next for Holloway because, most likely he's to fight the winner of Brian Ortega and Alex Volkanovski, or maybe has a second fight and then fights for the title. And I don't know how that goes. I mean, I've seen a lot of people saying I'd really like to see ZABIT Magomedsharipov against Max Holloway.
Who was Zabit's last opponent and when?
It was Calvin Kattar.
Really?
It was Calvin Kattar. But that was only just a 3-round fight. Three-round main event. So, yeah, and a lot of people started to see that Zabit started to lose a little bit of energy by the end of the third round, but you can never really tell because I'm pretty sure we won rounds 1 and 2 handedly. So I felt like maybe he might have just taken the foot off the gas pedal, and he might have just looked a bit slower. I'm not too sure, but I'd love to see that. I'd love to see that fight. I mean, definitely a big challenge for Zabit because I mean a lot of people are saying, "Oh, Zabit has no gas tank. He can't operate at the same level as these high-paced fighters." But I'd love to see that fight against Holloway because Holloway's so technically sound. In my eyes, Zabit's even more technically sound, especially kicking-wise, and he's just as dynamic as Holloway, if not more. I feel like he would be a challenge for Holloway, and I feel like it'd be an excellent test for Zabit to prove that, he is world-class and should fight for the title. Because I feel like 2020 was a bit of a shit year because Zabit lost a couple fights due to cancellations and things like that.
Oh.
Especially with Yair Rodriguez as well. Yair Rodriguez was on Twitter today saying, I'm not impressed.
Yeah.
He was not impressed by the performance, but I think that's him just stirring up a little bit of shit. Alex Volkanovski, our Australian champion, even had a little bit of stuff to say. Hey, he went, hey Max, you did well, but you don't do those numbers against me. And he did some screenshots of the amount of significant strikes against him versus his other opponents. So it's interesting now. The featherweight division has always been very interesting, even through Aldo's reign, then Conor, and then so forth with Holloway, and now these mix of title contenders now. It's a fun time for the featherweight division. I just don't know whether we've got to wait for Yair Rodriguez because he's got a suspension. He had an issue with USADA. They have an app for USADA, and you have to update.
Have to check every supplement through that app, basically.
No. Oh, that too, but you have to say your whereabouts.
Oh, okay.
So during the day, you have to say, and it's like a timetable. So that means that the USADA can come to your residence. And apparently he wasn't really updating the app, and USADA was getting frustrated because they kept trying to, pop up and randomly drug test him, but he's not at the residence, and they have no information because he's not updating the app. So they suspended him. I think he's got a 6-month suspension, something like that. Nothing too long, nothing too short, but it's annoying because a lot of these guys are trying to get back in the octagon and start becoming active fighters again. So I don't know how that goes. But Zabit, he needs to fight soon. I'd love to see Zabit versus Max Holloway or Zabit versus Korean Zombie. Korean Zombie, I'd love to see him back in the octagon. I mean, we've already seen him fight Yair Rodriguez. Unfortunately, he lost in the last round with just a crazy knockout. But really, he was up on the scorecards. I think that because Yair Rodriguez is on the side, I think Holloway versus Zabit or Zabit versus Korean Zombie. That'd be so good to see.